Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to International Racing League, round number 10, season 10 at Canada, F1 tier. Your commentator IRL Neon on my own today, since Mr. Suarez and Tom Jewell couldn't be either here today, which is a shame, but we will move on for today's round. Tom Jewell will be back for the next remaining rounds, which is Italy and Bahrain. But today we are at Canada. We have a 14 car grid. The Drivers' Championship has already been wrapped up by Matthew Aldorf, obviously, 4-time champion. Congratulations to him. I believe the Constructors is also wrapped up. However, we are getting confirmation on that. But we wait then for people to choose their tyre strategy, and let's see what they can do in the race today. Hopefully the weather is clear, because Lewis Curtis is looking very strong in the practice sessions he did. So we'll just have to wait and see. As we now load into the black screen of death, the conditions are intermediate, so that is very interesting. And Lewis Marshall, it is great to see you back in IRL racing in the McLaren. Hopefully we do see you for the new game as well, and hopefully you can show some true pace. It has been a while since you've been on the game as well, since you were in retirement, but it is great to see you here. As we also have a debut driver of Trap Formula. He was in a low tier before in IRL, but he only can race Saturdays now, and he's decided to go up to the top tier and give it a go. So it's going to be to see what he can do today, see if he can challenge Sondre and possibly Cameron Young near the back for the scrapes of points, as the Lordy's made it as well, which is great to see, and Edward and Bugatti. So it is going to be a very good race, hopefully a lot of action as we get all the telemetry up. As it is intermediate, in full wet. So the first driver out on track is the 4-time world champion. It is Matthew Aldorf. He'll be first set lap. So he wasn't looking comfortable in the practice sessions. His teammate had one up on him. Hopefully he can now have an equal session with Lewis with the intermediate conditions, but Lewis might want these type of conditions to play ball and try and stop Matthew taking another pole position. So it'll be very interesting. And Ollie Favell has let us know that it is going to be a wet race. Now that is very interesting then, because that's going to flow. That is going to have a massive spanner in the works, because now there's no dry conditions at all apparently, so it's going to be very interesting. Lewis, just put the foot to the floor and you'll be fine, as Matthew Aldorf is into the hairpin corner where we can see possible overtakes if you get a good run. This is the best place to make overtakes happen in the race, and DRS will not be active, so it's going to just be true pace and skill in these blow sessions as he's warming his tyres up, getting them ready to begin his first flying lap. Lewis goes down, Matthew goes down the third gear, up to fourth, gets an okay exit then, and here we go then as he's coming across the start finish line. Now then, as he's coming down the straight into turn 1, goes down the gears, goes to third, a bit of a lock up there, runs a bit deep into turn 2, goes to first, short ship to third now, tries to get a decent exit out of turn 2 there. He needs good traction and he gets it. Now he comes through turn 3 and 4, doesn't cut the corner, just a bit hesitant there on the throttle. He's probably taking a cautious lap. Purple in sector 1, obviously, since he's the first one to set a lap. There's a far behind him of Edward there in 5th place. I don't know if he's on that lap. No, he's on an out lap. Back then, purple in sector 1. Down the next straight then, which is also a possible overtaking spot, but very unlikely. It's coming to the chicane. Ooh, that was very close to track limits. Avedot keeps the car under control. There is yellow flags dead ahead. That is a Williams going slowly. I believe it's Trap Formula. It is. And it looks like he even might have reset the track. Hopefully he doesn't do that in the race, because that will give him a 5-second penalty. Avedot back on board with Matthew Aldorf, really fighting the car there just to keep it in a straight line, as the conditions don't look great. Down the straight he goes then. He's looking good for pole position, but will anybody else near the back challenge him? As he's now coming to the chicane, the Waller champion chicane. It's already taken one champion of IRL. Will it take another? Matthew Aldorf then coming down the straight, and lap time is a 1:18.340. Lewis Curtis does set an invalid lap time, but let's see what lap it would have been. It would have been a 1:20.3, 2 seconds off the pace. next driver up, I believe, is, actually, no, it's Brandon Vilgas. Brandon Vilgas goes second with a 1:19.3, 1 second off the pace from Matthew Walder. And that's the Williams yet again of Trap Formula, I believe, moving out of the way. Rocco Walsh invalidates through turn 1, it looks like. He won't be happy with that, but we're getting ready for his next run. Brandon gets a 1:18.7. That's a good job there from the Mercedes driver into second place. As we now move on to board with Edward. He was just behind Matthew earlier on when he was on the run. Let's see what he can do. A bit hesitant now on the throttle yet again, but you've got to be hesitant with these conditions. You can't go full throttle like you can in the dry weather. As let's see what Littleton can do into the next chicane. Nice and tidy there. Oh, but he invalidates. A bit too much curb there, and I think that invalidation was a bit harsh, to be honest. But that's what the game is, and he's been invalidated then, and he will not be happy with that and have to wait for his next flying run. Next driver we have is Big Addy, I believe. He's on a lap. Right, now let's see what he can do then. He's currently in 8th place, no lap time set. He's been doing very well in the Drivers' Championship, even though joining midway through the season. I believe he is in 2nd place, so the 2nd place Drivers' Championship standings are still fighting underway between Lewis Curtis and Alfie. So it's going to be a nice scrap. Who's going to take that 2nd spot? Will Matthew have any team orders as Brandon Vilgas sets a new fastest lap of 1:18.297. Although Alfie is still purple in second 2, and there's Lordy ahead. Maybe these two might give each other slipstream. They are friends, so could be a possibility. As there is yellows in turn number 1. I believe that is a Williams just backing off there, or a Racing Point at the pit lane. As Alfie then, down the straight he goes. Now he's only got 2 corners to handle. If he messes it up, that's lap game over. And yes, he does mess up, and that's an invalidation. What lap time would he have set though? He goes near S1-0, so that's going to at least cost him a 10th. There's a front wing damage there, a 1:18.2. Now I believe that front wing damage is from Lordy. It isn't. I did see wing damage though. Might be minor damage to the Haas. As next up, we are going to go on board with Lewis Curtis right now. He is on a flying lap, and he's on his 2-lap old intermediate tyres. Down the straight he goes there, and the weather looks like it's, you know, settling off a little bit. Possible dry weather run near the end of the session. Highly unlikely, but it could happen as he invalidates. But let's see what time Lewis Curtis does set then. And the lap time he sets, there's a lot of front wing there. He did a 17.9, so he would have taken pole there. But Lewis will be disappointed with that, as Edward goes at 2nd place with an 18.325. Very close for the top 3 as we speak at the moment. Anybody else actually on a flyer? Let's go on board with the debut driver, Trap Formula, in 11th place. He's backed off on the Williams, and he's going to go snail pace now and go back to the pits just to keep the car and the tyres under control. And the rain has stopped. It stopped raining. So this is advantage Lewis Curtis. This is great news for him because he's better in the dries in Canada then. Let's see what he can do, and hopefully the dries do come up near the end of the session. We have 11 minutes remaining. It's probably still intermediates for the next set, but hopefully the dries do come soon. Let's go on board with Lewis Bassman then, Kevin Harrison's teammate. Currently Kevin is in 6th place, no lap time set yet. I believe he is the car behind. Let's see if he's actually invalidated. He hasn't. So that's good to see then. So we'll keep an eye on both Racing Points as they're looking for some strong results today. They've had a very good season. Oh, Lewis Bassman, they're really fanning the car there with the rear end. Keeps it under control as he's now coming up into the hairpin corner. As there is Trap Formula then going off just to give everybody room. I think that's a bit too much room, but he gives them room anyway. As Lewis Bassman will be setting a pretty quick lap as the weather has dried off a little bit. Edwards sets a new fastest lap, 1:17.9, so times are getting quicker as we speak. Lewis really cautious there into the chicane. Activates, don't activate the DRS, he activates his DRS, then down the straight he goes, and he sets a 1:19 flat. What about Kevin Harrison? Will he find time to improve? And he does a 1:19.5, 5 tenths off his teammate, and usually Kevin's actually been up there in the qualifying session. Maybe he's not used to these tricky conditions in this tier. As Rocco Walsh then, still invalidated, currently in 9th place, probably just waiting for the dries to kick in, as I believe an Alfa Romeo has just gone out on track. That is Matthew Alder. Matthew Alder's going to begin a lap. Let's watch the 4-time champion as Alfie there, says a 1:17.7 and takes pole position for now, but times will be getting quicker and quicker. As we watch Matthew then into turn 1, a bit of a lock up there on the front tyres. Now into turn 2, goes to first gear up to 30, short shifts quite early on just to get the traction. Still a bit hesitant on the throw there. He doesn't trust the car at the moment, but he's really pushing now. Through turn 3 into 4. Up the 5th gear now. And it's fast throwing left right. Coming up to another chicane. Currently purple in sector 1. Almost 3/10 improvement. Not a surprise since the rain has stopped. And it's almost dry weather. And he's a lot more confident with the throttle in that part of the track. And didn't hesitate. As he's now coming up into the next chicane. The dry weather actually might be in the next couple of minutes. As Matthew then is going to be up on his time in sector 2. Let's see how much by. He's 3 and a bit tenths up, so he is up on his time. There's still a bit of spray on the tyres, so it isn't dry as yet, but it ain't that far off. Yellow flags dead ahead. That is an AlphaTauri going slow. That is Alfie then, I think, going on his end lap. I think he's run out of fuel. Matthew then coming to the line, down the straight. Past South Ben, who's currently holding first. Looks like Matthew's going to take it. Sandra Sohag. Oh, Matthew peels into the pits. People are going on soft tyres. Trap Formula, Lewis Marshall and Cameron Young, all on the soft tyres. It'll be very interesting what tyre they do decide to qualify on, because it could be in a matter of qualify mediums. Yes, it might ruin the track position you have, but it could be a better tyre choice for the race. But there is a few people on last. We'll go on board with the old man, Mr. Sondra Sohag, the bottle hog himself. Let's see what he does in the qualifiers. Oh, bit of the rear kicking out there yet again. He's really struggling with the Renault this season, and he's had a few issues with the rear end. But he's currently 8th with 189 as Lewis Fastman gets ready to set medium tyres. That'll be very interesting to see what he does. As there's a Haas on a fast lap, I believe. No, actually, Brandon isn't on a lap, and I don't know if he's weaving in discuss with Lordy or he's weaving to warm up his tyres. But DRS is enabled. The dries are the perfect option right now. Drivers need to pit, go for a set of soft tyres and absolutely fly. But they could also be running wet setups as well. Sandra will be peeling into the pits. And here he goes into the pit lane then. And there is a Williams leaving the garage. I believe that's Trap Formula then. So debut driver then in the tier. Let's see what he can do in the Williams. He's had a lot of rear end issue in the wet conditions. Let's see what he can do on the softer tyre. Well, I don't believe he's on road watch at the moment, Ross. The track was getting quicker, and he was actually going to take provisional pole, to be honest. So, to be honest, I don't really think it's fraud watch. Matthew hasn't been really confident at Canada. Lewis and Alfie, though, bring the fight to him, which I like to see, some fight in the competition from Matthew. But, you know, Matthew will probably have the smart strategy call. And, you know, he's a mini Ross Brawn and Michael Schumacher put together with strategy. He can sometimes make a good strategy call. So, he could have the pace against him, but he might find out a way to get a win. But, today, on board with Trap Formula then. Go revs out neutral. I don't know why he's revving out neutral. I don't know if he's trying to get his engine warm or what. It's not going to help his tyres get warm. Unless you want to be in first gear. But then, we're going down the straight as he's now weaving just to get a bit more heat into the tyres. And his flying lap is now beginning. Into the chicane he goes. I don't know if he got anybody this and next lap, but we'll have to wait and see. And he's now coming down the straight then to begin his first flying lap. And the first person on the soft runners, the Mercedes there, Brandon Manlower, in 7th place. We'll have to watch out. The Williams is on a flyer. Trap then picks up the 4th gear now into 5th, getting a bit more better traction than he did on the wet conditions. It's going to be interesting to try his choice though. Let's see what Trap can do. Purple in sector 1, he does a 20.1. It doesn't tell how much he's behind. Oh, rear snap there as well. He's really finding the car. This setup he has is really unstable, and it could be a danger for him in the race. As right now then, Brand needs to get out of the way. He does. Brand takes the escape road, and there you go. Trap then in on a fly then, passing Brand. Would probably like a bit of a slipstream down straight. Purple in sector 2, 42.4. Now I don't know if that's it's definitely going to be improving over the intermediate runners. But I don't know if that is actually a good sector for the soft time. How about Trap then? Down the straight. He's only got a chicane to handle. As we've seen before, a couple of drivers have nailed the lap except the chicane. They've messed that up, lost time, or even invalidated. But what about Trap? He comes into chicane, doesn't invalidate, really attacks that chicane there, gets to the exit curve now, picks up the speed, and he's going down to set a 1 minute 10.7. Don't know if that is compared, maybe the conditions are still affecting his car, but he does a 1:10.7, and he will be a bit annoyed with that lap. He could probably easily find more time. As we go on board with Brandon then, he is the next person on a flyer. as there's a few people still deciding to stay on the intermediate tyres on the pit lane. That is Sandra Soho. He hasn't changed tyre yet. Maybe he's waiting for the right moment. As look at that, Brandon 3 seconds up on his lap already in sector 1. So he's finding a lot of time, and he is purple. So he's looking challenging for pole position, possibly a mid-8 from Brandon, maybe a mid-7. It's in that range for soft runners. And speaking about Brandon, there's another Brandon in front of him. Brandon Vilgas moves out of the way for Mr. Manlover then, as he's now in the Mercedes, down the hairpin corner. Got to get a good traction zone, a bit of a lock-up. Not really going to affect him that much. Goes in the second, looks short shift to third to get traction. Down the straight he goes then. DRS activated now. And he is catching up with that Williams quite quickly. Obviously that Williams decides to go in the pit lane, and he does. And here comes Brandon then. Brandon aborts his lap. He comes in the pits. He might think there's more time to find, but there's not going to be a lot of grip on the track. They need a lot more people to rubber in the track a little bit more, as there's a Haas, which I believe is on a flyer right now. But Alfie then, who is ahead of the Ferrari of Edward. He's currently on a lap right now. He's 6.5 tenths up on his time. So right now, he's maybe the weather is actually affecting the lap times, because he's only 6.5 tenths up. That's 6.5 seconds up. So that would be a 1 minute 10/11. So you know, he's going to have to either abort or decide to go for it, and he is aborting. So Alfie's abort. What about Edward then? As there is people still out on laps. So will Edward abort his flying lap? And yes, he does. Edward in the pit lane. Now, I don't think anybody else is going to be able to abort it. Brandon is going to have to... It's going to be a risk. I don't think he's going to have enough time to get in the pits and get out if Brandon decides to pit and go on softs. He's currently 4th with a 1:18.2. But, as we've said before, there's a lot of people improving their lap times. And speaking about improving lap times, Lordy is purple apparently in Sector 2. As we'll go on board with him as we speak. As Lewis Fassman, also on mediums, on an outlap right now. He might have timed it perfectly for the medium tyre stint. As now there's a lot of people picking the medium tyre choice. Could be an interesting strategy call for the start of the race. Lordy then decides to continue lap. He didn't have enough time to pit. As he's come to the line then, he is probably going to take a provisional pole. And yes, he does. He takes a 1:09.1 there. Over a second quicker than track performance, but that might have been the change in conditions, and also, well, actually no, he's on the harder tyre as well, so it just maybe the conditions. So track formula has been a bit unlucky. There is yellows. That's track formula. He's somehow crashed out of the pit lane. That is embarrassing there for Trap. And he's stationary now. If he's deliberately disqualifying himself, I don't know what he's doing, because he could have gone. Okay. I'm a bit lost here. And he has disqualified himself, and I will write that down, because we did make an announcement about this in the steward's result. Anyone who deliberately DSQs themselves will get an instant 5 penalty points. So we will have a look at that. So we'll go on board with who's actually on a lap. Lewis Fassman then. He's actually on a fly right now. He's currently 3.5 tenths up, currently in 9th place. It's yellows yet again. Lewis Fassman, currently purple, outside there, moves out of the way. That is Alfie. We have 30 seconds remaining of the session. Alfie needs to make a bit of a straight line speed on, because if he don't, he's not going to have enough time. Lewis Fassman, will he improve? Will he take Lordy's position of provisional pole? This is where the laps are going to have to count now, because one little mistake and that is game over. And Lewis really hitting the zone there, and he's getting DRS from Sondra cheekily, and he does a 1:8.8, so he takes provisional pole position. We have now a Ferrari and Alfa Romeo, the last guys to make lap. It looks like one of them might not be even able to set a lap time, as we're on board with the Renault of Cameron Young. He's invalidated, so that is a shame for him. What about Lewis Curtis behind? It's actually Matthew Oda. Will Matthew be able to take provisional pole? Will he be able to take another 2 points? As he's now coming into the game, really fighting the car there with the rear rotation, and he's coming down to the line. And what time will it be? And it's a 1:7.8 on mediums. Jeez, that's quick. Matthew then, provisional pole as at the moment. Who is next up on a fly? That is a Williams. That is Rocco Walsh. He hasn't managed to set a good lap, and he stays 7th. Now, what about Lewis Curtis? Has he got it? Has he got enough willpower to take pole position? As he's now coming into the chicane, gets a nice steady exit, doesn't invalidate. DRS is active. Will he take pole? Only time will tell. Lewis is getting closer and closer, but yes, he does. He does a 1:7.874, but he's only a couple hundredths quicker than his teammate on the different tyre choice. Now that can't be weather affected at all. Matthew is in second then, and the only person who could be a threat to Lewis Curtis is Edward. Edward is now in the Wall of Champions, activating his DRS. Will he take pole position? He's getting close to it, and no, he doesn't. He does F8 flat there. Just making a note of that as Lewis Kirsten takes pole position. Finally, somebody beat Matthew Order to first. Lewis Kirsten, 1:7.8. Wow, very close indeed with Matthew with a 1:7.896 on medium tyres. Brandon Glover in third with a 1:7.9. Edward in fourth. Brandon Vilgas a decent fifth. Lewis Fassman sixth. Lordy seventh. Alfie has decided to stay on the inters then on his runs. Eighth. Rocco ninth. Sandra Sorg in 10th place. Good qualifying from him. Kevin Harrison in 11th. Disappointing. Lewis Marshall, no time set as he didn't trust the weather conditions. Cameron Young 13th. And Track Formula, who deliberately DSQ'd himself, which is under investigation from the stewards as we speak, is in a maybe in a little bit of trouble with that. So we'll have to wait and see what happens at the end of the race. Well, it's dry at the moment. We got told that it was possible wet weather conditions, so Ollie might actually be wrong unless we have a bit of a hint of Austria, where it was dry and then there was rain right at the end, or mid and then dry again. So the rain could be coming later. There is clouds, not dark clouds, but there is clouds, so there is possible of rain. But we'll have to wait and see then, as Ross has confirmed there is rain at the end, so I must be right then. So it's going to be a very interesting strategy call. Maybe that's why Matthew then in the end did decide to go on mediums, you know, to try and have the advantage. But if it's right at the end, that medium stint might not work. It might have been better off just actually starting softs, start pole and just pull the gap. And there's no I don't think there'll be team orders for the Alfa Romeo team. They're pretty safe for winning the constructors, or if they've already won it already. Matthew's won the drivers, so I think Matthew may decide, you know, let's let Lewis have a good day today and let him have a victory. Hopefully he does. It'll be great to see Lewis take a win, and also help him out for second in the drivers' standings. However, though, we are in the formation app, and it's great to see the Alphas get a good formation run at the start, as the Mercedes and the Ferrari line up next to each other. That is Brian and Edward, used to be teammates. Then Edward jumped to Ferrari after his actual wheel broke, and he couldn't race. And there is a Haas into the wall. That is Brandon Vilgas. He has already hit the wall, and he's planning a two-stop strategy. It probably is a two-stop strategy, to be honest, but I think some of them, yeah, as we can see already, 9th, 10th, 12th and 13th have decided to go on the hard time. Now they may not be playing a one-stop stint. Reason for this is because of the rain. Now that could be a good call, but it also could be a bad call. They are going to be really slow compared to everybody else, so they're going to have a bit of luck and when the rain actually kicks up, because they could be ahead of the drivers who have made their second stint, and then the rain could pour and then they could pit going into us and have a chance to fight for some good points. But Lewis Kirsten, first person to take the 2 points from Matthew. And yeah, Matthew will not have the 100% record this season of taking pole position. Like he didn't get the 100% of pole or winning the race. So, but I do believe he has the 100% of podium finishes. I will actually check that now. To be honest, I think he has. Yeah, he has 100% of taking podium finishes at the moment. But it is Canada. Anything can happen. Matthew could bottle, Lewis could bottle, there could be even Sandra Sohag winning the race. My prediction for the top 4 will be Lewis Curtis, Matthew Alder. I'm going to go with Edward with third, and I'm going to, as I always do for 4th place, I'm going to spice it up. I think Cameron Young could be in 4th place today. I think he can actually pull something out the back and have a bit of luck, to be honest, as he is on the hard tyre. As I said, it could be an amazing strategy call. So we'll have to wait and see. But here the 14 car grid do line up then. Lovely, we're on the leaderboard glitch already. So the light sequence has begun then, as we go now 5 red lights. And round 10 has begun, and it looks like Lewis Curtis had an okay start. Matthews had a decent start as well, but look at Brandon Glover in the background. He's had a brilliant start. Oh, he's trying to challenge the Alfa Romeos. The Alfa Romeos have a bit of contact, shoving Matthew off, and maybe that's a bit of revenge for a couple of seasons ago. But Lewis and Matthew going side by side through turn number 3. As Edward has had a shocking start, and Lewis Curtis is almost getting put in the ball. Lewis Curtis, the Alfa Romeo have contact. There was no front wing damage there, and Brandon is looking real quick in the soft tyres, and he's pushing it. Lewis is really fighting Matthew a lot harder than he should be, because he doesn't really need to fight for the championship. He needs second in the driver's standings. But look at Brandon, he's going on the outside now. Matthew blocks him off to try and box him in. Lewis holds him up, but it doesn't work. Lewis and Brand still fighting side by side, as we've still got chaos happening between the Alfa Romeo boys. Some very interesting tactics, but no big hits, as we can see Edward there making a dive on the racing point, trying to come back through the field, and that is Lewis Vassman. Edward and Lewis Vassman fighting now side by side down the straight, and here they go then. Who's going to be in front of the other? And it looks like Lewis has got the win on that side at the moment, but Lickle isn't finished with him. He's coming back at him, and we see Lordy in the background making an overtake on somebody, it looks like, or just letting somebody know that there's Alfie almost hits the Ferrari, as there's yellows. There is yellows. Is that Sondre Sohaug? It is Sondre in the pit lane, and he's got major damage, it looks like, to the front wing. So he is going to have to make his pit stop. As we can see Kevin Harrison now and Rocco Walsh fighting side by side, and it looks like the Williams of Rocco Walsh also got front wing damage on the right end plate. As you can see, these two still fighting side by side, and Kevin Harrison shows him who's boss and gets the position. The track formula is waiting in the wings, ready to make an overtake. He's on the quicker tyre though, so he should have the advantage, and if I was Rocco, I'd just let his teammate through. And this is the first time these two are going to be working as teammates, so it'll be very interesting. And Rocco is, you know, letting him through, letting him have the inside, now to challenge Kevin Harrison in 9th position. And we see Lewis Curtis still holding 2nd place. I did call him for the win today, but now it could be out of the way. He might have damage. Small end plate damage probably, but Brandon isn't that far off, and Brandon's looking quite quick. Been a while since we've seen some straight line speed from Mr. Manlover, and it's great to see that he's back at his old self. Oh, rear end there, kicks out a little bit there. Could that be under threat by the other Brandon, Brandon Vilgas? As Matthew sets the current fastest lap, a 1:11.7 on the medium tyre. We are getting some telemetry report that Lewis Curtis does have minor yellow wing damage, and that was because of his teammate. So as Lewis Marshall picks up the first penalty of the day, will Lewis be able to challenge Cameron Young, who's just ahead of him? We have no overtakes at the front at the moment, but we do have a nice scrap for P5 right now. Edward and Lewis Vassman and Alfie are fighting for 5th. And Edward's really getting a bit impatient now. He got held up last week by a racing point, now it's the other. Lewis Vassman is costing him time. And here comes Edward now, he makes a dive into the hairpin corner. Great dive there, but he can't make it work. The traction zone for Lewis Vassman just worked perfectly there. And Lewis holds the position, but does he have the straight line legs to hold it from the Ferrari? As Edward then going around the outside, as there is a car in the pit lane. It is Lewis Curtis. Oh, there's a bit more contact. Lewis Vassman and Edward had a bit of contact there. Lewis Vassman lost the rear end. Brandon sets a new fast lap, a 1:11.5. I can't believe I'm saying this, but is Brandon Glover got a chance to win this race, as Lewis Curtis has pulled into the pit lane, and this is great news for Alfie, currently in 6th, and he's making a very strong chance to confirm that he will be 2nd in the standings. And they're fighting it out. And we see another fight further behind between a Renault Williams and a McLaren. We will pay attention to that battle, but there's battles all over the place right now, but we're going to stay on board with a fight for 5th position. Bugatti is trying to get 6th, and it's actually for 4th now since Lewis Curtis did pit. But Alfie is really looking hungry on that rear end. Ooh, a bit of a lock up there from the racing point, but no dive this time from Edward. He's waiting to get a better run. DRS should be inactive now so he should get the straight line speed anyway, but Lewis Bossman's still probably going to be able to get it. No, he's actually not in DRS range, so Lewis Bossman in a bit of trouble now. Has Edward finally got away the Achilles heel and maybe able to make a move? He just needs to get a good chicane. Lewis gets an average chicane though as well. Matthew Ellis has a new fast start, 11.3. Oh, and there's a bit of contact further behind between the Williams and the Haas driver. But has Edward now making a move on the inside line of the Racing Point. Racing Point trying to come back at him. They're both in the same tyre compound, so it isn't an advantage on tyres, but probably experience. Edward then holds 4th position, and unfortunately the Racing Point of Lewis Bossman now lost that position. He's now under threat as Lewis Marshall peels into the pits. And we're going to keep an eye on track form and Lordy, because there was a bit of contact it looked like, and it looked like there was a bit of end plate missing as Lewis Marshall then coming out of the pit lane. So the famous Bottle Howe commentators, or the Bottle Job commentators as they like to be called, Lewis and Sondre, are in 13th and 14th near the back of the grid. So there's a bit of an overtake possibly happening further up the grid. It looks like Brandon Vilgas has now decided to pick up his pace a little bit and caught up with Brandon Glover. Brandon Glover's dropped a bit off the pace now. Is he now starting to park a bus? Gap 0.3 of a second. We're going to go on board with them now for battle for 2nd position. As Rocco finally makes his pit stop to get that front wing replaced and decides to go on mediums. I think medium will be the best strategy for him. But how much time will he lose to Lewis Curtis with that front wing change? There's Brandon Vilgas then versus Brandon Glover. As Lewis Curtis has the new fastest lap, 1:10.9 on medium, so he's a lot quicker than Matthew right now. And Matthew might be a bit annoyed with himself that he's damaged his teammate a little bit, but you know, racing sometimes that does happen. As Sondre Sohaug gets ahead of Rocco Walsh, but will Lewis Curtis get out of Lewis Marshall get ahead of Rocco Walsh? There's too many Lewises. Rocco then holds 13th. Lewis Marshall, lost a lot of time, and then Sondre Sohaug picks up his first penalty. As we've got a massive train further behind now, as the train is almost lining up for the battle for 4th. If they speed up a little bit more though, it could be the battle for 2nd. Brandon Willis then getting real close now. As Brandon Glover in the pit lane, it's changed to medium tyres. The soft stint didn't last that long. Brandon Willis then will be getting the... Oh no, Lewis Marshall has cut the corner. I saw that was a bit of cheeky corner cut in there. Hopefully that doesn't affect his race. As Lloyd then in 8th place right now, all alone, trying to catch up with the Williams and the Racing Point. The track performer then is doing a very good job in his debut. As Lewis Curtis has a new fast start, 1:10.8. And to be honest, Lewis actually even hasn't lost that much time. To be fair, he's probably lost a bit of time of the penalty. And Lewis Marshall has retired, so he has called it a day for today. So it is a shame, maybe he wasn't feeling it. Track performer then in 7th position, challenging Kevin Harrison for P5. We have no really close fights further up the field, so we are going to keep an eye on this right now, as it looks like track performer is the closest one to make an overtake. Track performer then activates his DRS. Down the straight he goes now. Track performer then picking up DRS. That is a shame, Lewis, but hopefully you can make next round. Track performer then going on the inside line, round the outside then to turn 1, into turn 2 to get the inside. Shows Kevin up there, and he completely just destroys Kevin's morale. Track performer that has just shown him up. Kevin Harrison then drops to 7th position. Lewis Curtis then in 10th place with a gap of 2 seconds to the guy ahead. He needs to pick up the pace a little bit more. There's yellows further up. That is an AlphaTauri. Has Lewis Curtis had a bit of luck? The AlphaTauri, it looks like he's lost the rear end. He hasn't got front wing damage, but the gap now with the points ain't going to gain that much. He's now in 8th position, and Alfie still needs to make a pit stop, so that's cost him time. Cameron Young's just got a 3-second penalty. The runners are still in the walls with penalties. Will Sondre and Cameron have another scrap further down the grid? There we see Alfie now making a move on the inside of Lordy as they're going side by side through the hairpin. Can't see an overtake further up heading, but this is the close overtake we have right at the moment. So we're going to have a look. Alfie making a move, and it looks like an easy overtake. Lordy may decide, you know what, I'm not going to fight you. You might as well pull me along to try and catch up. But, yeah, Kevin Houston gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Same with Lordy. As we're going to go on board with the fight further down. Actually, at the moment, we have two Renaults fighting a Williams driver just ahead. So Andre Sohaug is losing at the moment in 13th to Cameron Young. So it's the opposite from Brazil. It was Sondra ahead, and now it's Cameron ahead. It'll be interesting what they try and pull on strategy. And speaking about strategy, Edwards just ahead of these three. And these three, I believe, have made a pit stop. Yeah, everyone from 8th and under have made a stop. And let's have a look at the gap that lead between Lewis and Matthew. The gap's 21 seconds. Now, he needs at least the gap to be 18. So Lewis needs to pick up the pace a little bit more. He has got a 2-second gap, but he actually needs to catch and then overtake Brandon. Or at least Brandon to speed up. As this is the closest fight we do have at the moment. We're not going to stay on board with this fight. It's Cameron Young then. It's getting closer to Rocco Walsh. Maybe Rocco Walsh is in a bit of trouble. So I'm just going to put some other 3-second penalty, and you can see there he almost loses the rear end of the car. Good save there by the Bottle Hog, but that could have ended in tears and possibly caused a VSC. As Cameron Young then tries to get a good exit at the hairpin. ERS is activated. He is trying to go for the overtake. There's yellow flags. Oh no! Has Sondre done what I think he's done? As Cameron Young hasn't gone for the overtake yet. He has done what I think he's done. He's got the airport, but look at Cameron Young. Look at that overtake and look at the skill to make that work. And Rocco has just got shown up. Cameron in 11th, Rocco in 12th position. As Sondre Saab decides to go into the pit lane for a new strategy, as he just took another wing replacement. And here's the Renault Mechanics then, making a slick pit stop. Sondre, you can just see he's in despair under that helmet as he leaves the pits. He's back on hard tyres, so technically he didn't really need a pit again, so maybe this could work in the long run, but he's going to get lapped. Matthew Older has begun lap number 11, so he's not that far off from lapping Sondre Sohaug. Back to a fight though, we're going to keep an eye on, is between the other Williams of Rocco Walsh and the Renault of Cameron Young. We'll keep an eye on the fight for 3rd position. Actually, we'll go on board with that now, to be honest, because I don't think Rocco's going to get a good run on the straight. If he does, we will move back on board. But Track Formula has gained now a 10th on Lewis Vassman. The gap now 0.6 of a second. If we're going back on board with Rocco, will he get enough straight line speed down the straight? As Brandon Glover is also caught up on Lordy, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that fight as well. There's loads of fights at the moment happening in this race. Brandon then making the overtake on Lordy. Around the outside, they're going side by side. This could have ended in tears. Lordy runs a bit deep, but they're still fighting on Lordy again. Brandon's done it again. It's happened again. That is a shame. Oh no, and Lordy's reset the track. Lordy reset there, and that probably will be investigated by the stewards, but that is a shame for Lordy. He was having a good race, and Brand just tapped his rear end. Brand did this in Brazil with Nino, and yet again it's happened again with a Ferrari powered car as well, so Brand maybe a bit red in the face and may have to watch out. Back for the battle for 3rd position, we have Lewis Vassman and Trap Formula. Trap Formula is actually picking up the pace, to be honest. I thought he wouldn't be anywhere near these guys, but he's actually doing quite well, to be honest, and he's actually fighting for P3. Cameron Young then gets past Lordy, since Lordy decided to go in the pits for his new front wing, and that is a shame for the Haas driver. Now look, the Williams is looking hungry. Bit of a lock up there, and he's picking up the power now. ERS is activated. DRS will be next bit soon. So will he go for the straight line speed down? Will make the move on the straight because he's got a lot of straight. He's going for it. This is a very interesting way to make the overtake. He's going to have to get by. Oh, that could have ended in tears. If Lewis Vassman didn't pit, that could have easily ended in both of them two DNFing then. That was very close and dangerous. We can see another overtake further behind. Alfie making a move on the other racing point, Kevin Harrison. So the racing points are just getting overtaken very easily. And Kevin then in 5th, Lewis Vassman currently in 8th. May lose another position. He's just pit. Will he get ahead of Edward? Edward did jump him. It's going to be close as Lewis then comes around, and Lewis staying out as long as he did just gets ahead of him and holds P8. Back to the battle though for P4 now, as Edward just picked up a 3-second time penalty. So let's have a look at the penalty situation for now. Penalties as follows. Kevin Harrison has a 3-second penalty. Then we have Edward with 3, Rocco with 3, Lordy with 3. However, the Renault duo themselves, the new bottle team, both have 6 seconds worth of penalties. And the top 5, was the top 5, as somehow Kevin Harrison just lost position to Brandon Glover. I missed that. And look, Kevin isn't finished with him. He's going back on the outside, it looks like, possibly. He has the speed, he just wants to put it there. But Alfie in the pits, he doesn't want to repeat of what happened with France and Brandon. Oh, and Alfie's got a 5-second time penalty with speeding in the pits. Track Foreman in the pit lane as well. And these guys will need to make a pit stop if the weather is true that it is going to be raining. And is that Sondre? It is. Sondre has been lapped then. It is official. Sondre has been lapped, and so has Cameron. Matthew then has already lapped 2 cars. Will the Haas be the next victim? As we have a further fight behind between the Ferrari, Williams and Racing Point. Lewis Vassman pitting early, does get the job done in track form and actually has a car between them. So this is going to be a very interesting strategy and an interesting fight for P6. However, it probably will change to P3 to P4, I believe, because people still need to make their pit stops. But let's have a look to gap to leader. Lewis Vassman won't be anywhere near. Closest person, if they didn't have to pit again, is actually Brandon. Brandon could be a threat here to Matthew Older. The gap's roughly 17.7 seconds. The Alfa Romeo team need to make a slick pit stop. I'm sorry that we're missing the action further behind, but this could be close. Will Brandon be able to take the lead of this race and take another win? No, Matthew just covers him off. But that was close, and Brandon was 2 seconds earlier on behind. He's closed that gap up as he now go on board with Lewis Vassman and Lico are fighting out side by side through turn 1. The Haas driver Brandon Vilgas just pulls out, so now we're in a 4-car fight. And that fight there from Edward may have cost him 2 positions at least. With that, losing a bit of time. Lewis Vassman picked up a 3-second time penalty now, so people are now starting to rack up the penalties. And the worst scenario is, Brandon Vilgas is on hard tyres. Now, he's going to the end. Yeah, he's going to have an 18-second window when these guys pass him. Oh, hang on, there's yellows. Is that a Renault going slowly? It is Sondre Sorg, I believe. It is Sondre. Sondre has either lost the car and or something, or has he got a puncture? Because something happened there. Hopefully he can get the car under control. Brandon Vilgas then on those hards, not finding the pace what he needs. He's really under threat by the medium ones behind him. But in theory, he could let them by. They still need to make another stop. Lewis Vassman making the move, and this isn't good for Edward. He'll be frustrated with this because he was close enough to make an overtake on Lewis, didn't get it to work, and there we go. Now he has a car in between these two. The track format picked up a 3-second time penalty. As Edward now is trying to make an overtake on Brandon Vilgas. He goes on the outside through turn 1, gets his tyre burn on the grass, oh, bit of contact, oh, cars are fighting side by side, more contact, that could have ended in tears. Brandon probably didn't see him, and hopefully no harsh feelings between them two. Brandon then lets him go, backs off, and Edward then moves into 5th position. Track Foreman then is the next victim to overtake Brandon Vilgas now for P6. As Lewis Curtis picks up a 3-second time penalty. Track Foreman moves into 6th position. And he's doing a very good day for the Williams team. At the moment, both Williams are in the points. Lewis Curtis makes his pit stop, and this will be his final pit stop, I believe. And Alfie sets a new fast lap, 10.5 right now. And the Alfa Romeo is leaving the pit lane. Let's see where he comes out. Don't see if too much of a close fight right now, making an overtakes or anything. I am keeping an eye out. And he comes out in clean air. Back on board with Edward then, who's fighting for third position. So this is technically net third if the wet weather comes in the next couple of laps for Brandon Vilgas, because he's ahead of Lewis Curtis. He is on the hard compounded tyre. He don't need to pit again unless the rain really picks up when it does arrive. But the rain, 1 lap 17 out of 35, there's plenty of laps remaining, but there's no now cloud in sight. Really, there's a few clouds, but not dark clouds where the rain would pick up. And everyone from second position have got penalties. Brandon, though, making an early stop. Maybe he's thinking to go another set of mediums. He's only done 10 laps on those mediums. Another 10 will only get him to lap 28. So maybe he's thinking, well, these mediums now can go to the end. If it does rain. Yeah, I don't know. That's a very interesting strategy there from Brandon. As Track Former is actually getting past Edward. Oh, a bit of contact. There's in a bit of contact now, and the Williams now is ahead of a Ferrari. That's been a while to see. Last time we saw Williams ahead of a Ferrari was when Matthew was in the Williams team. But that is it. Edward then is behind the Williams of Track Formula. And it just looks like Edward just doesn't have the pace in Sector 3 and 2. Sector 1 where he's looking confident, but I don't know, maybe he's just not finding grips to the setup or anything, because Track Formula right now is on a roll and could be hoping to get a podium position right now. Yes, these guys are in second and third, but the best they're probably going to get is third position unless Brandon has an altercation, because right now he's in 7th. He's got a bit of a clean air, 4.2 second stop. Some of these guys won't be making their pit stops yet. They're probably going to make another 5, maybe 6 laps time, and then may decide to go soft tyres. So it's going to be interesting what they decide to do. Edward, nobody pits, Alfie don't pit, so it's a very interesting strategy call Brandon's pulled off here. Sandra picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that will be having some troubles. How far is he actually off from being DSQ'd? He's 12 seconds already. Cameron's on 9. I believe it's in ascending order from 10th, 3, 6, 9, 12. But yeah, that isn't good for Sandra. Hopefully he doesn't DSQ. I am Tim, I am alone today. I decided not to have a core comp since Tom and Paco couldn't make it. So as the Track Formula into third position now, still looking hungry for P2. Coming into the hairpin corner, going up the third. We are keeping all over the place, see if any overtakes happen further behind. This is the closest straight line and close fight we have from second place all the way to 6th, as it might turn into 2 little trains, because the race point and the Williams, oh look at Track Formula now making a late launch into the inside, into the world champions. These two going side by side. That's going to cost them a chunk of time, and Edward is going to be licking his lips because of this. He could possibly make an overtake, as these two are still going side by side, and that was probably a late dive Lewis wasn't expecting, and I wasn't even expecting it, to be honest, either. Great move there from Track Formula. I've got to give him credit when it's due, and he made it work, and he's now into second position. As well, great overtake. Edward probably was a bit disappointed there, hopefully probably close to crash to get 2 free positions, but he is in a bit of trouble on his own. He's got a hungry AlphaTauri of Alpha who's trying to hold second in the Drivers' Championship, and Brandon Vilgas who's on the one-stop stint. There is yellows. There is no way Cameron has binned it into the wall of champions somehow. It looked like at first he binned it in the pit lane, but he's actually lost a big chunk of time and needs to make a pit stop. He's last minute coming back at Track Formula. As we'll keep an eye on it. It looks like the Haas is going to be the closest one to make an overtake. Is he going to go for it? And it's great to see Brandon now starting to pick up the pace as well, even though he's he's on the fresher hards. Yeah, Edwards on 12 lap hard mediums, but those hards still shouldn't be in the working groove yet to keep up with these guys. And he's just staying within that zone. So Brandon could be in for a podium position. Another F2 driver getting a podium. But as we speak right now, Matthew Alder is on fire. Gap to second position is 17.2 seconds. Wait a minute, what? How is it 17.2 seconds? I'm positive earlier it said it was 14 or 15. Matthew is on a mission right now, as Brandon Glover now is catching up though, and this isn't good for him. As we see Lewis Curtis now, with rumours these two will be possible teammates for next season, Rocco and Lewis, or in FP as well. So it's going to be interesting what these two accomplish maybe on the new game. And there it goes, easy overtake for Lewis Curtis, but we're all going to have to move if it lets me quick enough to get to Brandon Bilgas. Brandon Bilgas is in trouble. We did miss that overtake. He got past Lickle as we're watching another overtake further behind. But yeah, Lickle got overtaken then. And Brandon Bilgas then moves into 4th position, looking for his first podium of the race. He's doing what he needs to do. The guys, yeah, all pulling away, but time's running out. Brandon Glover though is getting closer to these lot. He needs to get past them with no incident. Gap between him and leader is 22.5 seconds. On board with Alfie then, who's been looking quick all season long. And Cameron, a lot of people just picked up penalties then. I don't know who the other guy was, but I think it might have been Sondre. Sondre's now up to 15. Cameron though on the soft tyre looking past that, but Alfie is looking for the overtake on Edward then. He's going on the inside. Edward's probably not liking this. They're going to go side by side then through the chicane. Alfie's got the position, holds the straight line speed, but will Edward get him back? It doesn't look like it. Alfie's using his DRS and he holds the position. Brandon now is now in the fight for 4th position. Brandon Vegas then picks up another 3-second time penalty. That could jeopardise his position. He's on 6 seconds worth of penalty now. We're going to have a look on the charging Brandon then in the Mercedes. He's been in the Mercedes every season. He is a Hamilton fan, which he has my respect for, but he's looking for another overtake. And he's making the overtake on his former teammate. Edward doesn't really give him that much room, but Brandon's still sending it. They're going side by side. These two went side by side in the past before. Ooh, gets a bit shoved off there. Edward kept his nose in. I wouldn't really class that significantly alongside there for Edward. Probably got a warning for that. As Brandon's really low on fuel as well, so he's really pushing the Mercedes to its brink. As the next objective is to pass Alfie, and Alfie still needs to make us another stop. As we're back on board with Alfie then, who's fighting further up for P4 now, as those Frostman's lost a little bit of a touch to track formula. Gap 1.4 seconds. Edwards still hasn't made his pit stop, so it's interesting why Brand pit and only did 10 laps. Brandon then is really fighting for position, tries to go on the inside, Haas blocks him, then he's going around the outside, oh, a bit of contact again between the Brandons, and Brandon Willis then holds P6. Sorry, drops P6, and Brandon then moves up to P5. But Brandon Willis hasn't got really that much to worry about. He's got a 6-second penalty, but he'll have an 18-second window when all these guys pit. So he just needs to stay in the train, hold the speed, and just pray for some good luck. Gap now to leader between Brandon and Matthew. Gap is 23.6. He lost a second because of this fight. So this fighting isn't helping him for a chance to try and fight Matthew in the inter conditions. Brand is very good in the inters, but if the weather does pick up to that level, which I don't think it is at all now. Yeah, there is a few clouds now picking up, but it's still sun shining. So I don't think there's threat of rain. Lodi then pick up another 3-second time penalty. The only thing Brandon's picking up is 12 valuable points at the moment. He's going for 4th position. Alfie then drops to 5th, and he will just have to pray that he gets some more luck, and after that spin it doesn't cost him too much time. And I've got to say, even with that spin, Alfie's in a very recovery drive to almost get a podium position. Cameron Young sets the new fastest lap at 9.8. Matthew's fastest lap is a 10.1. So he's only a couple of tenths off that, and Cameron's on soft tyres. next gap is 1.9 seconds ahead. He has to pull, but he is pulling away from these guys. Even though he's under pressure, he's running back a couple of laps. So he is doing what he needs to do, as Rocco Wolf and Lewis Curtis decide to go in the pits for soft tyres. I don't think the rain is due now. I think it might have had a glimpse of rain right at the end. And as I said, it might not even arrive. So, hang on, there's yellows. That is a Renault going slowly. That is Cameron Young. He has hit the wall, and he's got another front wing damage. And, yeah, oh, he's trying to get the car under control. He hits the wall again. But, yeah, he's going to have to pit. New front wing replaced, and yeah, as he locks up into the hairpin. That is a shame. Yet again, the Renault team replacing front wings are all over. I'm surprised they ain't gone bust yet with these two drivers. But yeah, Cameron Young and Sondra not having a good day in the office. But I'll tell you, the person who isn't having a good day and is having a lot of bad luck is Lewis Curtis. He is currently in 11th position, out of the points. And Matthew Order picks up his first 3 second time penalty. That is interesting. Brandon Glover now needs to focus. If he can just pick up the pace a tiny bit more and pray that Matthew pits and he actually gets within that gap. The gap's nowhere near. Brandon just needs a bit more luck, a bit more pace, a bit more straight line speed. Just luck in general, to be honest. Because right now, Matthew has got a gap to second place, a 20.8 second lead. Matthew, speaking about Matthew, he's in the pit lane. Matthew then going for a possible set of soft tyres, going for the fastest lap. So he's probably wanting the point of that, even though Lewis took the point in the qualifying. And his team are going for it. A good slick stop, no wing change or anything like that. No downforce differences. And he's away. And he's leaving the pit lane. And he comes out in first position. He's led the race since turn 2, so Matthew has done a very good job on that strategy. Maybe Brandon now probably kicking himself a little bit. Maybe that second stint wasn't a good idea. No. So I'm just having technical difficulties. Apparently the stream went. Ah, there we go. I thought the stream went down then, as it came up on my phone as an error. So, apologies for that. I look back to the live action. We can see Lewis Bassman now under threat by Brandon. Brandon has pulled away from Alfie a little bit now. And the weather is starting to get more cloudy now. The clouds are now appearing in. It's going to be interesting because if there is rain, it's going to be right on the final lap. And we've seen this before where I believe it was season 9. Actually, no, it was season 8 to be honest. Season 8, as we'll come to with Brandon then making an overtake on Lewis Bassman now. Lewis tries to cut him off and oh, that could have ended in tears. And Brandon then makes a position. And he moves into third now as his next objective is trap formula. As Lewis Curtis and Rocco Walsh are having a right scrap. We have a three-way fight at the moment. But as I was saying, when CG Brain was here in Season 8, he could have actually won the race, to be honest. As these lot are really scrapping for this position. Lordy locks up. Oh, Lewis Curtis has to take evasive action. And Lewis Curtis then drops back to 11th. And it was only 2 laps remaining, and the Inters did kick in. A couple people stayed out on strides, and CC was like 8th, and then in the end he finished 2nd because of the change conditions. So it'll be interesting. Look, we'll stay on board with this 3-car fight for the scrap of a couple of points. I have a weird feeling this is going to end ugly. It's getting close. Cameron Young sets the new fastest lap. Oh, and there's yellows. That is a racing point going slowly. Is that who I think it is? The guy who said he was Mr. Consistent and Mr. F2 champion. It is Kevin Harrison. He has bottled it somehow through turn 7 as Lewis Curtis is now making overtakes behind, and so is Rocco. Lordy has finally lost a position and he's probably a bit annoyed, and Rocco then in a 9th as people are getting a lot of penalties now. And the weather is now creeping in a little bit now. It's getting a lot more dark as Lewis Curtis now making a move on Lordy, as here's the penalty situation. Everyone except Brandon has a penalty. Yep, the clouds are now starting to kick in, so maybe the threat of rain is due. Matthew has put on soft side. He's already built a lead of an 8.7. What? He's only done 2 laps and the gap's already 8.8. This is rigged. What a gap Matthew's already pulled, even though the softs only should be at least 2 seconds a lap faster, not bloody 4 seconds a lap faster. Jesus Christ. Matthew then, in the lead, and he's setting purple sector 2, so he's looking for Paul. Oh no, is that who I think it is? I'm sorry if I'm doing this cut screen. It is the Boilhog himself. He has gone into the wall and has lost another front wing. And he's doing a Vettel now. And that's probably spooked Lewis a little bit. And Edwards got a 3-second time penalty. Now I don't know if the Renaults are deciding to have another fight like the NFP, which I told him not to do, but yeah, as Matthew Orr then does an 8.9. And Sondra is driving like he drives his BMW, slow and steady. As he's getting caught by Cameron Young. And this is interesting, because I don't know if he's going to stay out and wait for the rain. The rain is due though. Matthew Orr then, gap 10.8 seconds to second, as we can see an overtake behind. That is Edward then making an overtake on Alfie as the Renaults are fighting out into the hairpin. I think Sondre is going to send it. Yep, Sondre's a stubborn old man. He's going for it. And they're going side by side down the straight, the Renault boys. It's good to see. It's been a while since we've seen the Renaults like that. And yep, Sondre is in the pits. And he gets that card. How close is he? He's on 23 seconds worth of penalties. There's rain due as well, so this is not good for him. He could get himself DSQ'd, and the last time he got DSQ'd, I believe, was season 8 at Mexico, or season 9. That was a while off, and he's quite better on penalties, but he's on 23. Randy Glover now gap to the next guy ahead is 2.3 to 1.9 seconds now. He's catching, and the Renault is leaving the pit lane of Sandro Sohal. To be honest, I think it'll be Sondre who'll probably get the first DSQ, to be honest. I'm not giving him bad luck or saying that he's bad or anything. It's just the way Sondre is. Sondre, just at this track, this Mexico, and I believe Australia, he has issues with the penalties. And oh, hang on a minute, is that what I see? It is! It's raining then, so the clouds have opened up and it is pouring down rain a little bit now. But sprinkles on the car. So, now that's probably woke up a few of the drivers up, but look at Matthew. He's almost got a pit stop gap. This guy needs to go on a 4-stop strategy in races around here. This is ridiculous. Matthew is really flying. And screwed up my prediction. Yeah, Cameron just bottled in FP. I think, to be honest, it was just bad luck. He tried to make an overtake, to be honest, with Sondre and got DSQ'd. So, Sondre drove cautiously. But anything can happen. As speaking about Cameron, he's now getting lapped by Matthew yet again. So I believe he's 2 laps down. Yep, he's 2 laps down from the leader. And Sondre is 12.6 seconds, and Cameron Young's been lapped by everybody else. Yeah, it's not going to be Sondre. It's going to be close. And pace has fallen off Matthew now. I don't know if it's picked up enough for intermediates. I don't know if that might be just tyre wear. Trap Formula on 18 lap medium tyres. Jesus Christ. They're going to be dead soon, especially with Lewis Bassman on 19 as well. These guys are going to have to make their pit stop soon. So they've really pushed it on their first stint on medium tyres. So it's going to be interesting how this plays off, because Brandon took a gamble. It's kind of helped. He's technically in the fight. Well, he has got the second place anyway. He's not fighting for first anymore. Matthew's put up too much of a gap. The only way he can win is if Matthew either crashes and loses a wheel or bins it somehow. As Cameron Young is the first person to decide going into intermediates, and Lewis Bassman in the pits, 5-second penalty for speeding. That's going to affect his position. But is he going on intermediates? Let's have a look. Race Point crew, I've got the intermediates ready. Slick pit stop from the Race Point crew. And he is away. Or is he holding? No, that was just a glitch. He is away then. I've picked up a 3-second. And yeah. Alfie then is also racking up the penalties as well. But the highest is Sondre, 23 seconds. And Sondre's just pissed. That is also bad time when he binned it as well. Oh, that's another penalty. He's now at 26. So 26 seconds worth of penalties. I believe the DSQ range around here is in between 29 to 30. So he needs to be careful. Any more penalties and he is bye-bye. He is gone. And Cameron already closing. Yellows in sector 2. That is a Renault going slowly. It's Cameron. I don't know. Cameron, I don't know. He's having issues with the wheel or something, but he's having issues with the front wing again. How many front wings have the Renault team gone through? I do like bringing another truck just full of front wings. Jesus. Brandon then, 3.6 off his PB. It's an option probably to go the intermediates. Lewis has took a gamble, but the person who's took the biggest gamble out of them all is Trap Formula. He could get a puncher. He's currently in second place, right? The gap, he has a 3-second penalty. He is safe. Right now, Trap Formula could get on his debut race for the Williams team a 3rd position. Now, I can't believe I'm saying this. You know, a debut driver in the F1 team getting 3rd. Usually the debut driver either bins it or doesn't, only just scores points. There's a couple of other people now are in the pit lane for the intermediate tyre. It is a bit late to make the call, but they're making it. Yeah, Lloyd's also on 21 laps, so we're going to have to keep an eye out. It's going to be interesting. That's what I'm saying. Matthew's now beginning the final lap of the race. So Matthew is safe from any puncture. But Trap and Laurie, they're in a bit of danger zone. And there's no overtakes on track, so we might as well just... Oh no, Trap's in. Why is he pit? Why is Trap pit? He's just cost himself a podium position. I would have risked it, to be honest. He's just cost himself a position. He's going out soft. Brandon Vilgas may have been handed. Let's have a look on penalties again. He has 6 seconds. He has a gap behind him at that. He's safe. Brandon Vilgas might have got 3rd position now. Trap Formula is basically out of this. Trap Formula is going to have to make his way through the grid. As we're going to go on board with Matthew Older, it looks like. As I believe he's almost ready to win the race. But yeah, Trap Formula made an error on the strategy call right now. We're on board with Matthew Older. Will he take the victory, or will he be the next victim in IRL, the champions, the Wall of Champions? I myself crashed an FP there, but it looks like Matthew is going to let the racing point back through of Kevin Harrison to be nice, but I believe he's still lapped anyway. Oh, Matthew almost loses the rear end, and that could have ended in tears, but Matthew Older then takes the win. A bit nervously there, but he takes the win on track with a gap of 22.3 seconds. Brandon then will be taking second. And DRS is disabled, so the inters would be working now. So I did say right at the end when the inters would be in prime condition. Kevin picks up another penalty as an overtake further behind. I believe that's Trap Formula. It is. Trap Formula makes a move on Edward. Brandon though holds P3, and I think he is safe. Let's have a look. The gap 6.7. It is decreasing, but I believe Trap Formula does the penalty. He does. The gap then 3.6. Alf then moves into 5th. Edward drops to 6th then. Lewis Fassman with major front wing damage on the right side needs to make a pit stop. Or just pit and get the new wing and then go across the line. But he's going to take P7. He's going to be happy with that, I think. Anyway. And Lewis Curtis then will finish off in 8th. He cuts the corner and takes Escape Road. I think he's a bit disappointed with how today's gone. It was his best chance to stop Matthew. But he takes 8th in the end. Rocco takes 8th. Lewis drops to 9th then. And Kevin Harrison, who is one of the remaining drivers to take 10th, as I believe that's Cameron Young in the pit lane. No, I say no, that's Cameron Young binned it. Cameron Young has binned it, and Kevin Harrison finishes 10th. And I don't know what Cameron's doing. If he's not careful, you can get himself DSQ'd. But he's doing donuts, giving the crowd something to celebrate for the Renault team, which will be rebranded to the Alpine team. Probably because of Sondre and Cameron just destroying front wings. But Cameron then coming to the line. And that is the F1 race today, 13 out of 14, so not really that many retirements. So a very interesting grid and a very interesting race. Well, yet again, Matthew takes another dominant win in first. Brandon then gets back on the podium, and people did call that Brandon would get a podium, but I can't believe I'm saying this for the first time in IRL history, I believe. We have 2 Brandons, second and third. So, there we go, have it then. Here is your official results. Matthew Order has been DSQ'd for cheating with an illegal engine. All jokes aside, Matthew then takes a dominant win with a 17-second gap with his penalty added, but with the penalty removed it would have been 22nd, and he gets the fastest lap. Brandon then in second, Brandon gets third, Track Formula a decent fourth, could have had third place if he didn't pit. Alfie 5th, Edward 6th, Lewis Fassman in 7th, Rocco 8th, Lewis Curtis 9th, Kevin Harrison takes the final point. Lordy in 11th, Sonny Sohag in 12th place, disappointing from the Reynolds today. And Lewis Marshall in his debut had a bit of disappointing race, but in the end gets 14th with the DNF. I don't know if that instant between exceed. Yep, Lewis got a track warning now. I don't know if that. Actually, how many penalties did Bottle have? Actually, I want to check that. No. Give me Sandra Sock. I want to see how many penalties he's got. Jesus Christ. Sandra has got a ridiculous amount of penalties. I think he was like 1 off being DSQ'd in the end. Yep, here's your pit stops then. Quickest pit stop time was Sondre. No, it wasn't. Why is it got him at the top? Oh, I think that might be. Wait, what? Why has it got Sondre at the top? Oh, that means that one. Jared, you idiot. I thought it was like the quickest time. I was going to say 8.3 is a bit long. Might have been back in the old day, it would have been good, but Jesus. Well then. We'll invite the guys for the interviews. I believe it was Matthew, Bran. That was it. This is going to be very interesting. I'm just going to have to find Matthew, to be honest. And Bran. Okay, for some reason it's not letting me invite Bran. Dawn as usual is appearing offline. Try this again. Brandon Glover on the score. There we go. Okay, the top 3 have been invited. And then we have Matthew, who's joined us now. Let's have a look if anybody else. Matthew, do you know anybody else who's joining? Right. Okay. Well, we might as well start with you, and then if Bran joins, then yeah. Well then, Matthew, 4-time world champion. I believe now the constructors is wrapped up as well. How do you feel? Oh, they already were. Right. Well, that is confirmation. How do you think your race went with a surprising qualifying and the way the race panned out for you.
Well, I mean, the qualify was an interesting one. People all seemed to before we all started going out. I thought a lot of people would go on to softs, and I knew that if I went on mediums, I'd probably start ahead of some of them because people would be going conservative, and I wasn't really worried about going conservative because I would have a good strategy even if I didn't set the time valid anyway. But I did get a good time and almost beat Lewis to pole on the mediums. And then the start, I went round the outside of Lewis. Just went a bit off track, but didn't make the move with that anyway. So then we go into turn 4, I think it is. I go a bit deep. Lewis obviously backs out, and then he tries to switch back, but he drives into the wall, which gave him wing damage and cost him a possible fight with me. Then it was just when I broke the DRS, I knew I would just have to drive to the end really, and I didn't know it was going to rain at the end. So I was just extending. So all I needed to do was extend my mediums, the second stint and the first. Well, actually, the first stint I extended my mediums longer than I would have liked to because I didn't want to get held by the people because I knew if I went a couple of laps longer I would be able to come out ahead of them, and I did. So then I already had the gap anyway when I wanted to pit for the softs at the end, but I would have extended more, but I knew the rain was coming and I wanted to go faster laps, so yeah.
Well, yeah, you even say with the pit gap in the end, you somehow managed to pull like 8 seconds with like 3 laps on those softs anyway, so, and then you did pull out another pit gap at the end of the race, so you were actually flying today, and it was a very good strong pace to see from you today. It was a shame what happened at Lewis. At first I thought you two had a bit of contact why he went into the wall, but since you've now explained it, then I understand. Just a team question as well. Do you think you're going to let Lewis have a win to help him try and get second in the driving standings?
No, I mean if he wants to get second, then he should do it on his own merit and not having to get help from someone else.
Well, that's well, Lewis, if you are listening, speed up. Well, the only question I do have left, it is Italy next round. How do you feel you're going to do there then? Do you feel a dominant victory again, or a maybe starting in the back as apparently you set the pack or whatever?
I said I would start back for Bahrain. Not Italy. Italy, I'll be starting at the front once again, going for another pole.
Well, that'll be good to see you get pole and quali and taking the win. Unfortunately, your 100% win streak got ended at Hungary. Your 100% pole streak got ended. The only streak what you've managed to keep 100%, which I believe should be on the records, is the podiums, which is very good to have, and the consistency. So I've got to congratulate you on that. Congratulations winning today, and a dominant victory, and well deserved in my eyes. You had a brilliant start on the mediums. And that's it really, but congratulations on first, and yet again congratulations on winning the constructors and drivers. Well then, it don't look like Bran or the other Brandon is going to be joining the interviews, so then I'll be doing the close down procedure. I've been your commentator IRL Nian, or it's Jared Lee Fosbury. I've been on my own today. It's been a very great and entertaining race for some parts, some bit of altercations which will be, as I said in the stream, will be investigated in the stewards with the quali and the reset. But it was a very good race, and if you want to see some more action-packed racing for International Racing League, join us tomorrow for F2 and F3, 4:30 UK time, where I'll be back in Wheel or Canada and having a bit of fun. But if you want to see some FP action, join us Wednesday at 8 o'clock. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and have a nice day. Goodbye.